living consciousness, opportunity in shifting perspective.
Good morning to our consciousness visitors. This is going to be a powerful session today. As we find ourselves in the chair and on the air, we invite you into the space where your consciousness is opened and curiosity is widened. I'm here with Dr. Kurt Bickford, a clinical neuropsychologist, consciousness and temperament expert, and author of the Living Consciousness series. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. This is going to be one of those fun segments, I think, and it's just going to supercharge our consciousness and our growth. And, well, a complex topic. We'll introduce it and spend hours later this month talking about it.
Meeting at the one-day seminar, August 25th.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm already actually supercharged, Kurt, because I was just checking our Spreaker.com site, and we just hit over, we're actually at 1,001 followers on the radio show, and we have such gratitude that so many are finding their opportunity in shifting perspective. It's kind of cool.
Absolutely, absolutely. The material draws you in.
So I want to just give a quick overview, as I always do. We actually have a live call-in opportunity. If you have any questions or comments during this segment that you'd like to input for us or check in with us to say hi, the telephone number you can reach us at is 909-809-5811. I'm going to say it one more time, 909-809-5811. And just so you know how it works, your call will be picked up and immediately placed on hold because I'm doing too many roles in this, so I'll put you on hold. And if you just allow for some patience with us and our timing and being able to pull you into the show. So we do invite you, if you have questions or comments for us. In addition to that, if you'd like to subscribe to this radio show, you can do that through a couple ways. You can go to Spreaker. It's just like speaker, but with an R, Spreaker.com. And if you'd like to know more information about the Living Consciousness series one-day seminars, you can access that through a couple different websites. The first being our main website, Bickford, Bickford, Covington, COVINGTON.com, BickfordCovington.com. On the front page there is a calendar, and it has the upcoming one-day seminar as well as the radio show listed for every single month. If you click on any of those links, it will take you to exactly where you need to go. And the other site is living-consciousness.com, which actually has all the radio shows available there as well. It will automatically start playing. You don't have to punch or poke or anything. It just go onto the website and we'll start playing the current the current radio show that's been done. So we invite you to those resources as they certainly provide you ongoing touch base for your consciousness growth. So as I said, good morning, and we are supercharged. So today we get to review first last month's seminar, which is what our kind of overlay to this program is to review the last one-day seminar, give you some snippets from that, reminders from that if you attended, and then preview our upcoming one-day seminar. So today we're going to review the last seminar, which was Overcoming Obstacles on the Pathway to Enlightenment. And we kind of did an over-defining of enlightenment as moving humanity forward, starting with ourself. So we're going to be talking about the ego today. So how do we get an ego, Dr. Bickford?
Well, we have to remember that all things start with the self, and that the act of creation continues through the process of evolution. And each of us have basically started off life with a defective brain. And it has the instincts and the neural wiring of basically an animal, and therefore it is oriented towards survival. And it has a built-in mechanism called the fight or flight response. And for us, it gets complex because that fight or flight response, of course, is only wired to help us for 5 minutes. And after 5 minutes, it starts becoming deleterious to our own existence and our own survival. So this animal brain of ours then creates some problems right on the front end. But then with this brain, with this defective brain, we are then systematically downgraded and programmed with data which is inaccurate, fallacious, destructive, negative, and damaging to our sense of self. And that source is the very field or context that is supposed to be our caretakers. And that's what creates all the confusion. At issue and central to everything is our ego. And falsehood is the most common and pervasive human experience. Each one of us is conditioned to accept as reality things such as worry, fear, anxiety, anger, remorse, guilt, shame, conflict, distress, and we accept that. We're taught to accept those aspects of life as normal life, with all those negative emotions, all those negative attitudes and feelings. This then forms habits of thought which are in our neural pathways in the brain that are repeated over and over as if, hear that, as if it is truth. It is not. Rather, it is just ignorance.
Well, at the July seminar, we discussed obstacles, and they were the obstacles on the path of enlightenment. Would you share with the audience out there that maybe a couple of the obstacles?
Well, let's start with one's belief system.
The biggie.
Well, let's go big and everyone only experiences the world of their own choosing. Because we no longer are animals and we have frontal lobes and a neocortex that are designed to process complex data, we all have free will. We all have choice. And at issue is what understanding of life you are using as a guide. All belief systems can be understood based on their level of consciousness of the teachings. Enlightenment is about aligning with truth, and there is only one truth, and that truth is experienced subjectively through radical inner honesty. If your truth is based in authority of any kind, especially historical authority, then it is less likely to be the truth of enlightenment. Remember that enlightened truth is the same experience regardless of time in history, locale, or personage. Part of the falsehood we have been degraded with is the mythology of the past. Yes. These are just belief systems. They are not truth. Ego, then, resides in the subconscious mind in humans. This is where all programs, conditioning, memes, and authoritative teachings are stored. So the ego's belief system is based in causality, in dualism.
If that, then this.
If that, then this. Cause and effect. As ego's primary task is to enhance the possibility of survival, change then is a threat and therefore an obstacle. Each time change is presented as a possibility, the ego gets threatened and trots out some meme or some belief to stop the change from happening, even, and this is key, even when it serves the growth of the self. Your ego will let you die in order to prove that it is right.
So I want you to say that one more time, because sometimes when I share that with people, they can't wrap their heads around it.
Your ego will let you die in order to prove that it's right.
Wow.
Each and every time. You all know people who, despite warnings of lifestyle patterns that are deleterious to health, will continue to engage in that behavior. It's ego that does that. And whether we're talking about the ingestion of things that are toxic to our bodies, we all know things like tobacco, excessive use of alcohol, drugs, etc.
Yes.
We will all justify and rationalize their use. And we even do that with food to the point of obesity, and then we'll justify our obesity. It just goes on and on and on and on.
Okay. So even though ego is about this core survival mechanism, it will survive to the point of letting us die.
Because it was raised in falsehood,
Yes.
it can't distinguish the difference between falsehood and truth. So it will believe what it's been taught. So if you were raised in a dysfunctional system, which all of us were, we have distorted belief systems. And if we never look at them, we'll never change them.
Okay.
This entire process, I want you to understand, this entire process then, and here's another obstacle, is that of resistance, which is a huge obstacle, the source of which is the narcissistic core of the ego. Your ego claims sovereignty and authorship of your very existence. It believes it's God. And it believes that any decision you make, any thoughts you have, any feelings you have, any behavior you engage in is designed and authored by the ego itself. All your thoughts, feelings, and actions, and then justifies all of it. It is willful, and it desires personal gain and control. It is vain, greedy, hateful, prideful, and envious, and so much more. We circumvent this obstacle through study, through introspection, application, and then becoming. All things in the universe, including us, come from a common source. It is not a personified God that looks, feels, thinks, and acts like we do, but rather the architect of all that is and is all that is. The source is not outside of us, but inclusive of all. To quote Jesus and all avatars, God is within. Source provided all things necessary for survival, but beyond that, to continue the creation process. That includes thriving and promoting your life. The purpose of life is to grow, is to develop, and maximize the gifts you've been given.
Yeah.
Nothing more. Each advancement of consciousness leads to the realization of the fallacious nature of what was previously understood at a lower level of consciousness. The very growth that we are seeking is a threat to the ego.
Now, being that we always look at this in addition with temperament, just kind of an off-the-cuff question, you talk about maximizing the gifts given. This is tied to our own individual temperaments.
Exactly. We all have a different, well, not all of us. I mean, there's 4 common temperaments, and each one has specific drives, motivations, needs, and it's our duty to fulfill those, not to transform ourselves into a robotic image of some authoritative power out there that says you have to be this way. No, it's already included within you.
Okay. So to kind of transition a little here, this month on August 25th, which is in 2 Saturdays, which we'll be meeting up at the Hilton in San Bernardino for our one-day seminar, we're going to be teaching on how to embrace and circumvent the ego. It's apparently not sufficient to know the spiritual truth. It is a degree of devotion that is that empowering us to become transformative. So we're dedicating this month to our consciousness devotion on the 25th, and I'm looking for kind of just a really energetic, rompous, jumping, roaring, snorting, hopping, spirited, life-affirming, and awakening day.
And indeed it will be.
So we've spoken that the ego is kind of this moderator then to our ability to do deep learning, application, and devotion. And so when we look at ourself and our growth of the self towards a spiritual consciousness, why is it that we resist?
Well, it's an unconscious resistance of fear, and this is due to ignorance and the download of fear in childhood. Once you know the truth, the illusion fades.
Okay, so how do we know when our ego is leading and when it is our higher self?
Well, ask yourself, do my thoughts, my feelings, my actions align with life? Or do they self-protect, separate?